Okay, so today we want to talk about Earth being air's opposite. Now, because it's air's opposite, it has a lot of unique traits that are very, very dramatically and drastically different than air. One of the things that Earth gets to do is have multiple ways of fitting all the descriptions, and we still have to think about how Earth is, how it feels in our hand, how it looks on the ground, and what it does to us or what it could do to us. And so when we start thinking about that, we start thinking about the fact that not all Earth is the same. Sand is considered to be Earth, but it's not the same type of Earth as, say, diamonds. Diamonds are Earth, they're stones. And so because of these dramatically different ways of having Earth, we have a variety of different personalities in Earth that start fitting with the right same principles that we naturally find in Earth. And so the four main ones that we're going to talk about that kind of encompass all the different types of Earth are rocks, diamonds, sand, and clay. Now, we'll start with rock simply because it's the one thing we all think of when we think Earth. So the rock it's hard, it's stubborn, it's not easily changed. Sure, you can throw some of them you can't. Some of them we consider mountains. But the rock is a stone, a giant stone. The next one we have to think about is a diamond. A diamond is very, very, very stubborn. In our reality, the only thing that can really hurt a diamond is another diamond. So they are so stubborn and so solid and so firm in their foundation. But it takes them even longer to be made than most other stones. It takes more pressure and more time and more heat to make them. The next thing that we have to think about is sand. Sand is a very, very fine powder. I mean, you can just get like dirt, and that works too, but sand is the finest of it all. And it's so fine that it typically acts like water, almost. It's not nearly as good at being water as water is. It's not water, it's earth. So because of that, it doesn't fit everything perfectly. It doesn't consider all the different possibilities. But it's very, 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 very good at that. The last thing we need to talk about is clay. And when we think of clay, we're thinking about the soft, malleable stuff. But eventually, we also have to consider pottery. What happens to the clay when it gets put through the kiln? It turns into pottery, and pottery is hard and tough, and that's one of the reasons why it fits so well with Earth. So when we look at it about personalities, and we try to define people who are Earth, these people are usually stubborn as hell. Whether they're sand, diamonds, rocks, or clay, at some point in their life, they are so stubborn, nothing stops them. And nothing changes them. One of the things that people notice about you is that you are stubborn, but then you, as the person who they're calling stubborn, says, I'm not stubborn, I'm determined. It sounds so much better. And I've heard this more often than not, honestly, when I start are you Earth? Well, Earth is stubborn. I'm not stubborn, I'm determined. Well, determined and stubborn are actually very different. That's why we have different words for them. So determined is about the end goal. It's saying, I want to get here. I want to become a lawyer. I want to be the president of the United States, and doing anything in your power to reach that goal and not stopping even though it might put dampers on the road. Stubborn isn't so much about where you're going to end up as to what you're going to do to get there. So stubborn is I want to be a lawyer, and I'm going to have this 5-year plan of I'm going to go to college for community college for 2 years and an Ivy League college for 4, and I'm going to graduate with a bachelor's in law, and I'm going to ace the test the first time around, and all the different details that lead up to you being a lawyer. So Earth people are stubborn. They like the plan. It's not about the destination to Earth. Earth honestly doesn't care where they end up. They just make the plan to get them somewhere. Another thing that Earth have is not just that they're stubborn, they're very committed. Very committed. And they're committed to long-term relationships, long-term commitments. So they are much better at sticking their path for 5 years or becoming the lawyer and then staying a lawyer. If determined people aren't always about staying at their goal either. It's more about just getting there. The thing about Earth in this long-term commitment and being stubborn is that they take a long time to get the plans going, to get the plans in motion. So because of that, it seems like they would take forever, and they'd be one of the slower moving elements, and they are slower moving sometimes. But once they make a decision, and once they've planned out the entire plan and to get where they're going, and once they've actually set their mind to something, they move forward at an exponential rate and just leap and bound. And if when they make a decision, it's like they're walking on the moon and you're stuck on Mars. They jump and they go really, really high, and they go really, really far, and you're just kind of taking itty-bitty baby steps along the way. So they're not the slowest moving element, although they're one of the slower moving out there. They're a low element, so they are one of the slower elements. But they leap and bound forward. They just go. They just go. So if we look back at the Greeks, we talked about being high, low, warm, and cold. Earth is very, very warm. It's a passionate element. It when it makes a decision, it puts its heart and soul into that decision. And that's what being warm is. It's putting your emotions into your decisions, into your life, into your situations, into your goals. And that's exactly what Earth does. They are very emotional, and they will honestly let you know if they're annoyed, and they'll get there. They're not easy to please. The last thing that we need to talk about with warm is that they have a likable personality. And they have this likable personality mainly because of the way that they appear. They try to appear nice. They usually wear jewelry, and it ranges from gaudy to really, really fine, but they wear jewelry, and they wear very pretty jewelry, and they wear very nice and fitting clothes. They have their own style, and that style is pretty. They look nice, they don't have to be. I'm not saying that they are pretty or they are thin. They dress to fit their body. They dress for success. It's one of the things in their plan. They dress for success. So they dress nice, and they can be wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and they'll put jewelry on, or they'll add a wrap like I have. They'll do something so that they are pretty and they're likable and people like them. They really like people to like them, and there's not that many people that don't like them. So on that note, if we look at how Earth interacts with the other elements in our personalities, Earth and air have a very unique relationship. They're both very strong-willed people. Air being flighty and Earth being very, very stubborn, but they're still both very, very dedicated. They're very, very self-reliant. They are the type of people that will tell you what they believe in. They won't stray from that belief forever. So it all depends, if you get air and earth together, if they're going towards the same thing for at least a time, or if they're at odds. Because if they're at odds, it's just going to be which one has more determination, which one is more out of control than the other, and they're the ones that win. Air is really, really out of control, and whereas Earth is very, very stubborn. So because they don't move, the more stubborn they are, the more it doesn't matter how flighty air is, because Earth is stubborn. So if you start getting into being a diamond, which nobody outside of Earth wants you to be, diamonds are not man's best friend, or woman's personality wise. It's like a tornado meeting a diamond. It's just what happens. You really never know what's going to happen with Earth and Air, aside from if they're friends, they really like each other and they're going to be best friends forever, and there's nothing that you can do to split them apart, because if Air actually likes Earth, then there's something there that overrides that flighty. And Earth will love Air. They think Air's cute or funny or something. When we get Earth and Fire have different ways of reaching a goal. Fire doesn't care what they do. They're the determined one. They don't care what they do to get there. So if Earth has this plan all set out and already in motion, and that's the way it's going, Fire says whatever, and they go with Earth's plan, because Fire doesn't have a plan. So as long as they're both trying to reach the same goal and Earth's got a plan, Earth and Fire are going to get along great. The second they start deviating, they're arch enemies. They don't necessarily want to destroy the world, but they want to make sure the other person doesn't. And they both want to be president of the United States. One will make it, one won't. One has the plan, and the other one has the guts and glory to get there. And then you start mixing water with Earth. Now, the relationship goes one way. Water likes Earth. They like people who want to be liked. So Fire wants to be liked, and Air, they like people. It's not that they want to be liked, that they like people. And because they like people, they like Earth. Earth wants to be liked. Water really wants to like Earth, so they like Earth. The problem isn't that water likes Earth, it's the problem that Earth doesn't like water. Earth takes so long to make a decision. They take forever to make a decision. And this is longer than all the other elements trying to make a decision. And water just wants to make sure that everyone's considering everything and everyone's happy, and you really know where you want to go. Because once you want to go there, they know Earth's just going to go. And they're not going to change for very much at all. So they want to make sure that you're on the right path and that you're thinking about everything. Which means that Earth takes 10 times longer than it normally does, and Earth already takes forever. So they get very, very annoyed because water's just so nitpicky about all the different, you should consider this and you should think about this, and then when they have thought about something, water gets in their head, and it's just like, shh. It's the little whisper in the back of your brain going, this isn't right. And it's so annoying, and Earth just wants to strangle water. So the relationship is really one way. It's not. Water gets along with everyone on their end, but the other elements get really annoyed with water. I'm water, so I hope you don't get annoyed with me. But Earth is very, very annoyed with water, and there's no other thing. It's not like if Air and Earth meet and they're arguing that they destroy the world or something. The water doesn't do that. Water and Earth don't do that. But the relationship is one way. Water likes Earth. Earth doesn't like water. That's typically the way it goes. Okay, so we're going to talk about Fire next. It's just alphabetically next, and I personally don't want to talk about myself until the very end. So we will talk about Fire in the next episode.